So you're a long-time New Yorker. You must know the New York food scene very, very well.
Well, you know, the way you put it, like I'm a big food...
But you're a New Yorker.
I'm a New Yorker and I eat out a lot. Nowadays, you walk down a block, you see 3 restaurants every block. Pick any one of them, they're all pretty good. It's a question of what are you into, you know?
Welcome to the corner table where we sit down with a celebrity at one of their favorite places to eat. Today we've got a corner table with a man whose voice may be grander than his stature. He's loudmouth comedian Jerry Stiller.
Get us calm here.
Serenity now!
And Jerry and I are headed to his favorite Manhattan hangout, Ernie's, on the Upper West Side. Over lunch, we'll tempt him with some forbidden foods.
Like the cheesecake you're having right now.
We'll talk about his movie star son.
If you had known that Ben Stiller was going to turn out to be such a big superstar, would you have been a better father?
And we'll share some memories of celebrated performances with his comedian wife, Ann Mira.
And Ed Sullivan never gave us any notes.
No?
Never gave us a note. 36 times, never any note, except twice we couldn't go on.
Oh. That's a big taxi.
Oh, here we go. No, I think I would have been a wild card as far. Look at this, one of those nice big ones. I really kind of like this kind of environment. I kind of wait for a long limo-type cab. I think those are the best. I come from the old checker mentality. Checkers were those cars that look like little tanks. Right now, they're all over India.
Come on, let's go
Let's
eat.
get in, okay.
We're with actor Jerry Stiller, first known for his legendary appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show with his wife Ann in the comedy duo of Stiller and Mira. His long-running career found colossal latter-day success on Seinfeld as neurotic George Costanza's short-fused father, Frank. He now co-stars on the hit CBS sitcom King of Queens.
Gotta let the crutch out on these trousers. After all, I'm selling pretzels, not myself.
In real life, he's the father to actor-director Ben Stiller and comedian-actress Amy. And Jerry Stiller's restaurant pick is Ernie's on Broadway and 75th in New York City.
So, Jerry Stiller, where are we heading?
We're heading to Ernie's. That's a little place up here on Broadway that Ann and I kind of like. The people there, I think most of the people who run, you know, the waiters are all show people. And so they treat us with great respect. And
What does that mean? Is it bowing, a certain amount of scraping and bowing involved?
Sometimes it makes you drink.
And what is it? What's your drink of choice when they offer you a drink like that?
I like a Merlot.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Little red wine?
Yeah, a little red Merlot. It's kind of a velvety taste. You know, I learned all this when I took Blue Nun lessons.
You know, you sold me a couple bottles of Blue Nun in your career.
Yeah, when it was $2.69 a bottle. Yeah, it was a good buy, right?
Yeah, here we are. Yeah?
I'm having a little problem getting out, Bill. Will you give me a hand here?
What, pull you out like this?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah. Now,
These New York taxis, it's not easy.
one more for the gift one. All right. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
All set. Ready for that
Good.
food. Right.
Outside the restaurant, Jerry pondered what he was going to order.
Yeah, we'll try something new. Are there any specials? You know.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah,
I'm not the waiter. I don't
I know. I always ask, you know, are there any specials? Or they come over and they offer you specials, you know, and then they start, and then I have to ask them to repeat the specials because stop at one special, I start to think, oh, where's that chicken that you, and then they're on to the fish, and then they're on to some other thing, and then you got to go back and repeat that thing. But it gives them a chance to do their stuff.
Do their act.
Oh my God, you know, when you get people doing their specials, you know that they are in a place in their life that they have been waiting for a long, long time.
Well, let's see what the specials
Let's see
are.
what those specials are.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Well, Jerry Stiller, formally thank you for bringing us here to Ernie's. It's a very comfortable looking place.
It's kind of like a nice place for Ann and myself. We come by here a lot. They have a kind of a nice feeling towards us.
Yeah,
They know who you are, you know. The major league knows you by your first name.
You got your goat cheese,
I got everything.
globules, or whatever they are?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Doing good. I mean, nothing is falling apart inside the mouth yet.
Well, I've got the the roasted portobello mushroom salad. And so much to talk about. So, you know, I was realizing you are making a career specialty of playing fathers at this point. Or is it the father on Seinfeld?
Yes,
you know,
yeah, I'm a father.
King of Queens.
Yes. I guess you could say I am a father figure. You know, I've always, by the same token, you know, I'm still trying to be a good father. So I have a son who's, I actually had my life. I said right now I have my son, Ben, who I think people know about, and then I've got a son-in-law named Kevin James, who plays
King of Queens.
Yeah, and then of course the inimitable Costanza character that I worked with, Jason.
Frank.
Yeah, Frank is that. Yeah, but what other roles would be left for someone like me? I'm ready for the grandfather part, but I keep dyeing that hair every 3 days.
No, let me ask you a question.
Yes, go ahead.
As long as you mention the hair.
Yeah.
Why the decision to dye your hair orange?
I never dyed it orange. What happened was I walked on the set and my hair had been dyed a couple of weeks earlier, and now was oxidizing. And was oxidizing while I was talking to them.
They saw it change right in front of them?
Yeah, and it so happened it was the same color as Estelle Harris's hair, which was the same, you know, dyed red.
Mrs. Costanza, right?
Yeah, Mrs. Costanza. So this stuff was all an accident. And after that, we never talked about it.
But it was Jerry's booming voice that defined his character on Seinfeld, and the idea for the voice was not planned, but came out of necessity.
Estelle was overwhelming me, overpowering me, screaming at me, hollering at me, and as I realized there was no drama taking place. So out of sheer instinct or survival, I started to scream back at her. And I started saying, "Hey, don't talk to me like that in front of him." And she says, "You're smothering him, you're smothering him." And they crashed in the crew, they kind of broke up. And they said, keep it like that.
Could I have one serenity now to calm me down here?
Well, it's a
get us calm here.
Serenity now! And look, luckily, you know, it's a quiet restaurant. They take homage of me here, you see.
I asked Jerry about a notorious Seinfeld episode.
Well, we're talking about food. So the Fusilli, Jerry, there was a macaroni that was kind of what was created into a trophy.
Right.
And it was an al dente that had really been al dentized. And
Al dentized?
Yes. And
I'm going to use that in the future.
Somewhere along the line that when I had an argument with Kramer again over the rights to the man's ear, and we got into a big
the man's ear, the bra for men.
Yeah, because we had now gotten into arguments, partners fight, you know. And as I swung at him, he threw a punch at me, and I went backwards, and I landed on the Fusilli Jerry,
right,
which was the trophy, and it was embedded in part of my body that you don't talk about at the table. And I had to go to a proctologist. And we had to remove this al dentized macaroni, and this was another one of those episodes in which I guess immortalized in some way through history.
Jerry's son, Ben Stiller, is also making history on his own as an accomplished actor and director. He recently starred in the smash hit comedy There's Something About Mary.
How, the first time you sat down and saw There's Something About Mary, what did you think?
Well, I was with him at Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Ann and I, he said to us, "You sit behind me, Dad and Mom," at this premiere which the Farrelly brothers had in their hometown, because what you're going to see might bother you. Well, I didn't know what he was talking about. And then this movie started, right, and they got to that scene with the zipper, and he did that, and I never laughed so hard in my life. And the braces on his teeth, you know, that innocence, that kind of goopy look that he had, which was so, you know, everyone.
I saw it twice. Yeah. It was a very funny movie.
It was the funniest movie since the Night at the Opera for me.
Very funny.
Yeah, that was.
Well, let's dig into the salad. There's a lot to talk about. I want to go back to the old days on the Lower East Side, and I know that your uncles had a restaurant down there. We'll take a break. We'll come back, get some entrees.
Sure. This Groucho, man. He's very frail. He's got the braid, got a little cane. And he opens the door and he says, "I always liked you people. How long you been married?" I said, 20 years, Groucho. He said, "Why?"
To trio and steamed mussels, as well as family-style entrees like shrimp risotto, a roasted vegetable plate, and my entree, chicken scaparello. Executive Chef Craig Woisen showed us how this home-style favorite is created.
Here's the first step. Take a 2.5 to 3 pound chicken. You want to debone the backbone. Just take a nice, I have a boning knife here, but if you have a chef's knife, just cut down both sides. Just be careful, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a real sharp knife, just take it, just whips right out.
Craig then cuts the chicken down the center of the breastbone and removes the wingtips. He
hours, or
marinates the
overnight
chicken
if you
for
have the
4
time.
hours.
Take a roasting pan. I put some vegetables in it, some carrots, celery, onion, a little fresh herbs, and just place it on top of the vegetables. It keeps the chicken moist. Next, we're going to roast the chicken at 400 degrees for 45 minutes.
To make the sauce for the dish, Craig starts with some chopped garlic.
Next, we're going to add some sautéed mushrooms that have already been done, some steamed broccoli, and some roasted potatoes that have been sliced.
Chef Woisen deglazes the pan with white wine and lemon juice and adds the cut-up chicken pieces.
And then you're going to cover it and cook it for about 10 minutes, really slow, and all the flavors will melt.
The chicken and vegetables are removed from the skillet. The sauce is finished with some butter and rosemary, and the dish is plated.
Have you ever had this dish, which I have with the broccoli and the garlic and the chicken chopped up?
No.
This is what I like about this. It's like a home. Have some. No, here, the whole piece.
No, I can't. No,
Yes, you can do it. Here, you can share.
What is that particular?
Oh my God, not that.
No.
Here, you can share this.
All right, would you like a little some of my
How about the back end here?
Take whatever you like.
Coming in the
okay,
back.
here. It's easier that way.
What do you have? Mashed potatoes underneath?
I'm not going to have the mashed potatoes. It's just for me. It's decor. Yeah.
Not going for the carbs today?
Yeah. Carbohydrates. So you got to watch it.
Over our entrees, Jerry told me about the first meal Ann Mira ever made for him.
At the time, we had just finished doing a really off-Broadway show at a veterans hospital. And it was a very depressing story, to say the least, because the veterans were all paraplegics, and they never told us anything about it. And she wanted to lift my spirits, so she said, "Come to my house. I'll make you a spaghetti dinner."
Oh, that's enticing.
Never been to this place in Greenwich. I says, "Hey, an actress invited me to the apartment in Greenwich Village to make it." I get to her house, and there was this wall that looked like kind of an al fresco wall. They kind of like plaster, and it was kind of had little squiggles on the thing, and then it was painted over in blue. A light aqua blue. And I looked at the wall, and she was making spaghetti. I says, "What are those squiggles?" She says, "That's the spaghetti." And she says, "I throw it against the wall to find out if it's al dente." And I says, "And of course they painted over it." Yes, it's been painted over.
Did she do it that night?
Yes, she threw the al dente. And I said, "You like al dente? I like al dente too."
Then how about with Stiller and Mira? Take us a little bit behind the scenes. Those Ed Sullivan shows are legendary. What do you remember backstage at the Ed Sullivan show? You did, 36 Ed Sullivan shows?
Well, we'd rehearse in the dressing room, and we'd wait upstairs on the floor. There was usually the 4th or 5th floor, and each act had a little dressing room out there. It's the same theater that David Letterman
was working in the Ed Sullivan Theater, right?
And the thing about it was you were getting ready for that show in the afternoon, which took place at around 1 o'clock. And that was the tryout for the evening show. You went through that and you get the timing and everything else. And when it was over, you waited for if you were going to get any notes. And Ed Sullivan never gave us any notes.
No?
Never gave us notes. 36 times, never any note, except twice we couldn't go on.
Oh, that's a big note. That's called no.
That was a no. In those days, we had a record with him because he never asked us to show him the material during the week.
He trusted you.
He trusted us, yes.
Of all the people you've worked with, going all the way back, other than Ann Mira, who is the person who's made you laugh the most?
The Marx Brothers. Maybe 20 years ago, Ann and I were invited through the LA Times, the cooking editor, since we're all cooking, said, "Groucho Marx would love to have dinner with you and Ann." I said, "Who else?" She says, "Just you and Arthur Whitelaw, who produced Minnie's Boys on Broadway." "Nobody else?" "Yeah, and we're going to cook the dinner." I says, "This is unbelievable. Would you like to come?" I said, "Ann, Groucho Marx wants us to have dinner with him." She says, "Fine." We get to his house, and there was Groucho now. And he's very frail. He's got the beret, he's got a little cane. And he opens the door, and he says, "I always liked you people. How long you been married?" I said, 20 years, Groucho. He said, "Why?"
But look, the things you had to do along the way to keep the household operating with the wife and the 2 children.
Yeah.
I heard that you once tried to sell a chicken recipe door to door.
Well, the truth of the matter was, and here I was a guy in mid-30s. We had a daughter, Amy.
Right.
And I said, "This business ain't working out." But I had been a salesman before that. I used to sell magazines door to door when I got out of the service. I said, "I know a great idea. I have a great recipe for chicken gaillon."
Chicken gaillon?
Chicken gaillon.
You have a recipe for that?
Recipe, my own recipe.
Right.
You take the chicken and you marinate it overnight, And I said, door-to-door chicken Guyong on the west side would be great. You get a little pack, you knock on the door,
Right.
$1 a leg.
$1 a leg?
$1 a leg.
Door-to-door
Yeah,
chicken leg
because
sandwich?
guys seeing, he's watching television, food ain't so hot. Jerry Stiller, like the good human man, $1 a leg. I told Ann the idea. She says, we're going down tomorrow night to the Phase 2 where Vaughn Meter's auditioning new people, and you're not going into that business.
So you never sold chicken?
Never had to do it.
Linzer
Linzer tort.
One of my favorite desserts.
Oh, go crazy for Linzer tort. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
And he gets a little
Here,
shy.
this is eyes to see, nose to smell, mouth to this. Here, down here.
Don't talk about that.
This was the Shamela.
Welcome back to our corner table with comedian Jerry Stiller at Ernie's Restaurant in Manhattan. For dessert, I have a classic New York cheesecake, and Jerry has a sugarless ricotta cheese fruit tart.
You basically are not a dessert person because of the diabetes? Or?
I have what the adult ongoing, ongoing,
Onset, yeah.
onset, whatever.
Yeah.
One day it hit me about 3 years ago.
So how did you have to modify things?
Well, I modified it by suddenly cutting out everything that had sugar in it.
During those days when you didn't have to worry about desserts,
Yeah.
what was your fantasy dessert? Like your most irresistible dish?
A tort, what's the tort? That Viennese
Like a Linzer
tort.
tort.
Linzer tort. Oh,
One of my favorite desserts.
Oh, go crazy for Linzer tort. Yeah, stuff like that. Like the cheesecake you're having right now.
Jerry has had many challenges in his life, including trying to be a good parent while traveling on the road.
We always found a motel near a playground so that we could take the kids to the playground. They would go and play in the sand pen. And Ann and I would sit and rehearse the material on a park bench while we're doing it. That night we'd be opening at the Club Sahara or the Holiday House.
Did you ever worry? It's like, geez, where the kids are like gypsies or going around, like maybe they'd be going in and out of school.
We were always with them, and when this was going on, it was basically he was doing summer vacations. And we always had my father-in-law, Eddie Mira, with us, who would babysit.
Good.
But once we discovered that the kids were of age now to be out of nursery, that's when the act broke up because we couldn't go out anymore.
So
Recently, Jerry was honored with a celebrity-filled roast given by the New York Friars Club. Jason Alexander and Jerry's son, Ben, were just two of the stars who turned up the heat on a very modest Jerry Stiller.
I'm your greatest fan. I am privileged to have shared a stage with you. I think of you the way I think of my own real father, as an old and seemingly endless drain on my patience and my pocketbook.
For me, it was not so simple because, you see, I came from a very repressive nature myself. My background was very repressed. When we talked about, I always say this, this is eyes to see, nose to smell, mouth to this. Here, down here,
don't talk about that.
This was the Shamela. What part of the body is the Shamela? In Latin, you find a word called the Shamela. We didn't talk about that. It didn't exist.
With all that, profanity and
Stuff
everything.
was flying around me.
Was it tough for you?
Well, a lot of it was, they were so nice to me, basically, the roasters, because every time they said something funny, or supposed to be like throwing a dart, they look at me with these teary eyes, like Jeffrey Ross would say.
I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
Didn't mean to hurt your feelings. So there was a lot of that. There were certain jokes which I thought were very, very funny and appropriate.
Yeah.
Like Wendy Liebman would say, Jerry Stiller is my grandmother's favorite actor. He makes her damp. Stuff like Alan King saying, the only reason we got Jerry Stiller tonight was we found out too late that Abe Vigoda was still alive.
Yeah,
I mean, stuff of that nature.
Jerry, you're really having the time of your life now.
This is it. This is it. I mean, there's nothing. What can be better than to, at this junction, is that the word, in life, to know that in a couple of weeks I will be flying out to my Hollywood abode, going to rehearsal. Monday to Friday. Friday night we perform. Kevin James, Leah Remini, and myself will be performing for a live audience. And at the end of the performance, the audience is applauding us and enjoying every moment of us. And being able to get up the next day and say, get in the pool, Jerry, do a couple of laps. The sun is shining. There's a palm tree. And you came from where? That place downtown, where there was nothing going on. Toilets in the hall. Fathers and mothers beating each other because there was no money. And you look at that for what it's worth, and you say, what could be better?
Sure, that's a wonderful thought.
And I don't have to drive
You know, we like to close all of our shows with a toast to our Food Network viewers. We have to toast with, I guess, coffee and iced
Yeah, I mean,
tea.
you're not supposed to toast with water. That's Irish. So I'll toast with the coffee.
And
Yeah.
you're on, Jerry.
Okay,
So,
I can only wish everybody who's watching right now, whatever has happened to me that's you think is good should happen to you, only better. Lots of love.
thank you. It's wonderful to be with you.
Same
Good
with
health to you.
And Bill, thanks for. We go back a couple of years, and we've never stopped being young, especially you.